Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Closing Time Chronicles. Again, my name is Allie Tabor. I am your host, and today I am sitting with Kamal Hayes with Innerspace Properties. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Allie. I'm an agent with Innerspace Properties. I'm a newer agent. This is my first year full time. I made a year literally yesterday.
Oh, no way. Congratulations.
Yep. So glad to be here.
Yay. Okay. How do you choose to set yourself apart in a competitive industry?
That's a really good question. Like I said, I'm a year. So the thing that I wanted to do to set myself apart really was to be genuine, right? In order to compete, really just be genuine with my clients, really be authentic as I can, and be forthcoming and just tell them the truth about what the value of their home is, so that they can be most successful. Right?
Awesome.
So,
what inspired you to get into real estate?
What inspired me was really wanting that financial freedom.
Okay.
Right? And when I know when I was working my job, I felt like my true value wasn't being received. Right? You can do the best that you can,
Absolutely.
but when you work in a job, it's your
well,
number.
You said it, when you're working a job,
Right.
not a career.
Correct. And so I feel like in real estate, I can really give my full value, and it's received by the client much more, and it's much more appreciation. So I like that about it. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Tell us, what has been a rewarding, I know you've only been in the industry for a year, but what has been like a rewarding experience for you?
A rewarding experience for me, and I've actually been in real estate all my life. My mother's a broker.
Right.
I took it full time.
Yes. So if you've watched all of our episodes, Kisha Hayes is Kamal Hayes' mom.
And my boss.
And boss. So how do you guys, not to cut you off, but how do you guys handle that work-life balance?
My mom, she is amazing. She's been doing this 18 years, right?
Yeah.
And so we really make sure that we keep it professional. That's my mother, but I also respect the job. I respect the career. I respect the business, and I take it seriously. I treat it like a full-time career, not a part-time thing. And so we kind of have that really good working relationship professionally and family.
Yeah, I love my mama, but I couldn't work with her. And I think she could say the same about me.
She's
so
great.
I love that you guys do that. Okay, tell us about a rewarding, I know it's only been a year, but that's okay.
Right. No, a rewarding experience for me was when I got a referral from out of state from someone I never met. The client, the referee, I never met him. And we actually closed the deal, and he was buying a home. We closed in 6 months, and he gave me a 5-star review. And this is somebody that I couldn't tell you what he looks like. I can tell I know his name, but I made sure that I qualified him. I made sure that I found him a good agent out of the state, and I stayed in contact the whole time from the time I was referred. So that was really good to get referred somebody out of state, that trusted me that much.
That's awesome. That's a great story. Yeah. I have referred business, but I've never been referred business the opposite way when I was in real estate. So that's really great for your first year.
Right, out of state.
Yeah. Okay, how do you prepare your closings when they say, hey, I'm ready to start house hunting? How do you start that process with them?
Well, the thing that I like to put them first and foremost is really setting expectations.
Sure.
We can prevent a lot of catastrophes if we're prepared for them up front. So some things like yesterday's prices are not today's prices.
Right.
We need to be aware of that. Knowing how competitive it is, time is of the essence. So I really sit down and make sure that this is something that they really want to do, and explain all of the different things that could potentially go wrong with my experience. And so they're prepared when it happens. It's not a surprise. It's not a shock. We're already prepared and we're staying calm.
How does that flip when it's a listing? Is it essentially the same?
With a listing, it's the same thing. During a listing appointment, we're interviewing for the job, right? But we're also interviewing the seller as well to see if we're ready to take on their challenges. That's the reason why we're paid the compensation structure we are. We're attaching ourselves to their problem to find a solution. And so at that time, I'm explaining to them what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, what I can do for you, what I can't do. What your
weaknesses are.
Yeah, let's be vulnerable.
I love that. Give me an example of that.
Okay, so I may tell them, hey, look, I may not have the journals. I may not have the AI. I might not have what a big box brokerage may have. If that's what you're looking for, I get it. And I'm being upfront. However, what I do have is I do have determination. I do have the work while to make sure to see it through to the end. I want to make sure that I'm committed to the job. And so I'm being vulnerable with them. And a lot of salespeople may not do that, and it gives them the
Absolutely not.
option to see something different.
I love that you said that. I actually read a statement, I've said it on the pod before, but I read something recently where it said that the common person may trust a car salesman
Right.
more than a realtor.
Right.
And I find that because realtors hide what they do because they protect their client. You know what I mean? Like there's so many fires that go on in a deal that we shine our clients away from because they don't need to worry about that. We've got that.
Right.
I love that you spoke on those things of like, not necessarily that was your weakness, but that sure, I do have weaknesses, and if that's what you're looking for, that's fine.
Right.
But if you're with me, you're getting someone who's going to fight for you every step of the way.
Absolutely.
And I love that expectation because I think that that's the most realistic thing when buying a home. It's where are my expectations, because they're all over the place.
Absolutely.
Everybody's all over. They're jumping up and down. My cousin said this. My uncle said this. My best friend said this.
Right.
I'm that person too.
Right.
But in everything except for real estate.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest purchases the average American is going to make, really.
Oh my gosh.
It's very important. You're dealing with tens and almost hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And so it's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
They want to be with somebody that they trust.
Absolutely. Once you get a contract and we're getting to the closing process, how do you prep your clients for that phase?
For the closing, right? Okay, so that goes back to the beginning. I just really believe preventive care.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best care.
I
right?
love it.
And setting expectations. And so throughout the process from us shopping, I'm explaining to them what's next, what we're doing. I kind of do that in our emails, what we're doing now, what we have done, and what's next. Generally, if we did everything right, it's really smooth sailing. If anything, it's more so on the other party. So we did all of our documents. We've had everything, all our T's and Q's dotted.
Yep.
So that's really just it, just keeping them updated.
Absolutely. How important is it that you get to pick the title company that you want to work with, or working with a title company that you enjoy working with versus maybe a lesser experience?
Right. That's a really good question. I have the motto that pretty much anything is possible. Everything is negotiable. By any
Everything's
means,
negotiable.
By any means necessary, right? And so I really enjoy working with other people who have that mindset. And one of the reasons why I like working with Legacy is because, I feel, especially Chad says all the time, we're going to try everything to get the deal done. We're going to think outside of the box if we have to stand on top of the box.
Exactly. Logically, ethically, we will find a way to get it done.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I love that. It's nice to be a part of a team that has the same determination when an agent's like, we've got something come up. How are we going to fix this? And so we've got 4 people handling a situation. Like maybe it doesn't require 4 people, but like the conjoining of the minds, the teamwork to get it done, and having the support staff and the bosses who know how to get us there. Yes. So I love that.
That's very important, especially with the lender too. So
absolutely,
your team, when you're a buyer, you're hiring a team, a real estate agent, a title company, a lender. It's very important to have people who are diligent, motivated, and professional. So that's what I look for in a title.
Absolutely. Okay, tell us, what is a crazy, unexpected closing you may have walked into?
Okay, a crazy closing. This is very interesting. So this is a buyer that I had.
Okay.
And this particular buyer, I won't say his name, but everything that I advised him to do, it seemed like he did the opposite. And the whole point of us is to make this easy. He fought me tooth and nail to the point that we got to the closing table just for him to tell me, HOA fees, he may be a little bit behind. And we got a letter from an attorney that it was actually $6,000 in unpaid HOA fees. So this is a cue. If you have an HOA, you need to pay them. They'll tack on fines. And I was just like, that really cut into his net dividends. And this is another reason why you need to be truthful and forthcoming on your whole situation.
Yes.
But that was one of the crazy experiences. I didn't know HOAs can get that high.
Yes. I've had one recently where they said they were married, or I don't remember if they said they were married or if they said they were divorced.
Right.
And there was no record of the marriage. And so it's like, hey, I understand, like, I've been through a breakup that felt like a divorce. I'm here saying, but when we're talking about things from like a legal standpoint, we've got to talk from things on legally, like where's the documents, that kind of stuff.
Objectively.
Exactly. But luckily, the attorney stepped in, got hey, we're going to have to sign like these extra papers. We'll clear this out, but no worries, we got this.
Right.
It was something that popped up at closing. But
Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
it's all fixable.
That's crazy when they just pop up. You don't know. They don't. Sometimes they don't know.
No, they don't know. That's another thing.
They genuinely.
Yes.
He didn't mean to not tell me. He genuinely thought I didn't have to pay HOA.
Well, and recently there was another closing where they didn't realize they had a second mortgage.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
And that was luckily we worked with them. We figured it out. But it was one of those things where like, what do you mean I have a second mortgage?
That goes back to the question you were asking. How do we prepare for closing? I think that's a really important step for real estate agents to think about these things and these experiences. And so asking them, hey, do you have any second mortgages? Oh, what is that? Oh, let's talk. Have you got solar panels installed? Have you got a loan modification? You know,
absolutely.
The more we have that information and the better we can prepare title, the easier it can be.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay, so speaking on that topic, what do you think is something that our cooperating professionals can do better to lift us up as a whole?
I'm talking about us working together.
Yeah, like, you know, working with other realtors, working with other lenders, working with other title companies. Like, what is something as a whole we can all do better, for, especially for the consumer?
Of course, this is a challenging field.
Absolutely.
It gets challenging. Sometimes the fires get big and we can get emotional, right?
Yeah.
I really think when we stay calm and respect one another, not put the blame on people, but as a team, let's work together to figure out how we can find solutions. That makes it so much easier for the deal instead of like pointing fingers. Why didn't you do this? I get it. We're gonna drop the ball. Sometimes, Allie, I do things that are not even I feel is my job, but I'm doing it for us all to get to the finish line. So staying focused on the objective. Try not to point blame too much.
I love that. I think that it's I don't find that it's my personal beliefs. I'm never going to talk poorly on another cooperating agent, especially with a client. Like I think that we can all communicate better, but you'll never see me or anybody on our team pointing a finger. Like that's not something.
Experienced that here.
I just don't like it. I've felt that way in other situations when I was in real estate, and I'll never make somebody else feel that way either. Right. But I really liked how you said like staying calm in really like stressful situations. Right. How do you manage your emotions?
Ooh, that's a that is a good question.
Because let me tell you what, I could probably learn a thing or two.
Look, share some with me, right? And so I think for me, everybody's different. My day starts early in the morning. Okay. Right. And so starts off with journaling. I go for a walk. I understand what my job is. It's not just sticking a sign in the yard. It's not just finding a home. My job is to really find problems and create solutions. That's what we're getting paid for. Right. So essentially, that is our job. And so just remembering that, thinking about the client, right? Thinking about the job and making sure that my personal life is kind of contained. Yeah. My finances are managed. Yeah. That way you're not having commission breath. Yes. Making sure that I read one of my real estate coaches told me the way that you do things in your personal life show up in your business life. So little things like making up your bed, you know, when you get out of bed. I always
make my bed every morning.
Yeah, things like that. And that'll keep you calm throughout the rest of your day.
I'm not great at that, but I love that you said all those things. Yeah. I try, so at Sherwood, so Ashley, our attorney there, came up with this, and Fridays are typically like our busiest closing days. And so on really stressful Fridays, let's say we've got an hour gap in between closings, our Sherwood office has an upstairs. Right. And so somebody will stand at the foot of the stairs and scream, "It's time to dance!" And we'll take 10 minutes or like one song through and just let it out. Let's get the frustrations out. Like I'm like, that's good to me. Like I need to zone out to some music. I need nobody to talk to me for 5 minutes. Like, because for me, I get overwhelmed easily, but I know I have 5 things up here. If I write 5 things down, I can tackle that easily. Absolutely. So sometimes for me, it's just, okay, I need to step away for 5 minutes. Let me go take a step outside, breathe, write it down. Okay, I'm good. Let's go. Go. And then we'll crash out. It's okay.
That's a good one. Breathing exercises.
Because I will get overwhelmed, and it was something I listened to on a podcast, and it was just like, breathe to 10. I'm like, oh, that's simple. And so that's just how I just have to breathe it through, because I'm like, my mind is a liar. You're not overwhelmed. You can do all this. You can do it. Yeah. Your mind is a liar. And but I love that, because we've been through some situations. Kisha and I as well. She gave me the cutest gift. I have to shout her out. She had a succession on one of her files, and Michael stepped in to help us get it closed. It did take us a little longer than expected, but you know, we're dealing with courts and judges, you know, that kind of stuff. But she got Michael and I little desktop fire extinguishers for
that's
putting out her fires. I'm
That's
like,
nice.
that was so
That-
sweet. Oh my God, it meant so much to me.
That is what we do.
It's what we do.
That's
Exactly.
nice.
And that just makes everything so worth it. But yeah, a
Love
big
that.
part of what we do is putting out fires.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me, what is the best piece of advice that you've received? Doesn't have to be real estate. Maybe it's personal life.
Best piece of advice that I've said that I get, and I'll use this for both real estate and personal, is follow up. Follow up. I know that sounds common and cliche, but actually implement that. That can even be in personal, right? If you have an issue with a family member or friend, you know, and you discuss it, following up with them, you know, that kind of lets them know that you care, kind of reinforces their friendship or relationship. And same thing professionally, you know, just keeping in contact with that person if you're genuine about it, and authentic about the relationship. So follow up, I'd say.
I absolutely love that. I think the best piece.
That's something that you do really well.
Thank you. That is something I do in my personal life. When a friend comes to me like asking for advice or saying, "Hey, this happened," like I just need to vent it out.
Right.
I'm the friend, and I'm not perfect, but I strive to be that friend. Like, hey, I know this happened a couple days. You good? You need to talk about it again?
Right.
Like, just thumbs up, thumbs down. We don't have to discuss it again, but like, I'm gonna check in.
Just checking in on you.
Absolutely, because I like being that person to my friends, and I like being that person in work as well. You know, I find that this is my favorite job. It's my favorite people to work with because I feel so fulfilled. Because I feel like the people I talk to are my friends. So I'm not calling to follow up with a client. I'm calling to follow up with my friend to make sure that they're okay. You need something, holler.
I'm here.
It's the same kind of service I'd give to anybody.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about that.
You're good at that.
Thank you. And we love working with you. You said this earlier, the weekly updates. Like, hey, this is what we're working on. Like everybody stays in the loop. It keeps everybody so organized. And I find that those are like the easiest files. Like they're the smoothest files.
We've had some trouble. Some
hiccups,
small fires, right? But when we're all on the same page and we're aware, it makes it so much easier. I've never had a blame. I've never had a fault. It's always been cooperative, like a team.
Exactly. So, and I love that. And I think that's exactly what our industry should be, and how everyone should look at our industry. Is exactly how you said it. When you're hiring an agent, you're hiring a lender, you're hiring a team. And we are your team. We are your dream team.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any last takeaways that if anybody takes one thing away from this video, what would it be about you, your realtor, you know, anything?
My career.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't get the words out. Words are hard sometimes.
Right. So many. If I had to give one piece of advice, I would probably say, and this is something that I learned really in this past 12 months journey of working for myself. There's a difference between being purpose driven and pleasure driven. Okay. And so when we're pleasure driven, we're thinking about the money, we're thinking about what we're gonna do, and we can get distracted, right? But when you're purpose driven, it's harder to get distracted. You're more likely to persevere through. You're doing it for a purpose, and if you do the right thing, put it like this, right? The more you chase butterflies, they're gonna run from you. But if you focus on building your garden, they're actually gonna come. Does that make sense? And so take that
I love that.
Take that what you will in your business, in your relationships, your family. Focus on building a garden and all the butterflies.
I'll give you my favorite piece of advice. I was telling Kamal, he asked me how I feel about podcasting, and I'm like, actually, I love it. I did public speaking competitions in middle school. I did speech in high school, but I didn't compete. And I gave my high school closing speech. And in my high school my farewell speech, someone else, a friend of mine at the time, had given me this line, but it goes, at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, water boils, right? But at 211 degrees, that water's still going to be very hot. You're still going to burn your finger. What can I do to be that extra degree? What can I do to go that extra mile? It's just that one. I'm hot already. I'm at 211. I just got to get to 212. You just got to go one more.
That's right.
That motivates me.
It makes it much more easier to compute, right? It's like at 99%.
Because I'm not taking 10 tasks. I'm not taking 212 on. Just take it on that one.
One more step.
One
more degree.
One day at a time.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Thank you, Kamal. We love doing business with you, and thank you for coming on the pod. We will add Kamal's social media, so where you can find him if you're interested in hiring him as an agent, or if you just want to follow along, he also does market updates as well.
I do.
Yes.
I have a weekly newsletter.
Yes. So if you'd like to be included in that, let us know. Thank you so much again for watching another episode of the Closing Time Chronicles. We appreciate all of you viewers, and we can't wait to see you at the closing table again soon.
You,
Thank you, Kamal. Bye, guys.